100x move in silver coming. Brace yourself. And coming in from the Morgan Report, David Morgan, silver reversal is coming. 100x silver coming. Brace yourself. In this video, David Morgan talks about why the Fed doesn't want you to own silver. So why don't we just cut to a short clip? I'll put a link in the description to this piece and this video. But let's just cut to a clip now and have a look at what David Morgan has to say.
I feel strongly that by 2023, we will be seeing new highs in gold as a minimum, silver perhaps, but at the end game, nothing outperforms silver. Will it happen this time or not? We'll see. What I do know is that the best study done on it was called Silver, the Restless Metal. Professor Jastrom, I've mentioned before, Elijah, and he did the golden constant. He looked at gold based on commodities and it did best in a deflation. And he wondered what silver did, so he looked at it under those same conditions, and he determined that silver does sometimes well in deflation, sometimes not so well in deflation. And one more comment on silver is that on the wholesale side, it's getting pretty tight. I don't think the metals story is over by a long, long shot. I think there's a lot more to the story. As I've said many times in broken record style, 90% of the move comes in the last 10% of the time. And I think we're going to see something similar this time around. And I really anticipate that by 2024, so 2 years out, maybe 2.5, I think we're going to see, record highs in both the metals and a lot of people that will be joining the movement, the idea that, stock's bad, gold good. And of course, that is not in the consciousness of most investors at this point in time, but it will happen in my studied view. And I think hard to say, I think before the end of this year, you're going to see a lot more volume in the gold and silver markets than you have now. And the main thing is to have a plan and stick to your plan. It's if you have a plan of dollar cost averaging, for example, and I'm going to buy precious metals for the next 3 years, and I'm going to buy it at $100 a month for the next 3 years, stick to your plan. So when the metals get crashed, you're buying a lot more metal for that $100 than you are if the prices are high. But in a bull market, it's a good way to dollar cost average and get a good price over time, and it takes a lot of stress. So that's number one. The other one, of course, is what people want to do, and that is to pick an exact bottom, which is nearly impossible. And the problem is the psychology that goes into it. When you say that's the bottom and you buy, and then you find out it's gone even lower, then you're upset with yourself, should have waited, and you're hesitant to buy more. So strategy there, really, what I've done, and seems to work well, is I make certain that the bottom is in. So let's say, for an example, silver bottoms at 1788 a week from Tuesday. And that's the low. And then it comes back up to, and the trades are below 19 for a matter of weeks. I would look at the chart and I would make silver prove itself to me, which means I'd say, okay, I draw a horizontal line and I would say, when silver gets above 1880, this is based on the future. And then when it gets above 1880, it has to stay there for 3 days in a row. Must be consecutive days, and it must be on higher than average volume. And if that occurs, then I can go ahead and buy silver.
And last month I did this video, Who is Manipulating the Silver Market, where we talked about the trial of the JP Morgan traders who were manipulating and spoofing the precious metals market. Well, JP Morgan precious metals traders were found guilty in that spoofing trial. So they were found guilty. The former head of the JP Morgan Chase & Co. precious metals business and his top gold trader convicted by a federal jury in Chicago on charges they manipulated markets for years, handing the US government a major win in its long crackdown on bogus spoofing orders. Michael Nowak and Greg Smith were found guilty on Wednesday after a 3-week trial. Prosecutors presented evidence that included detailing trading records, chat logs, and testimony by former co-workers who pulled back the curtain on how Smith moved precious metals prices up and down for profit. And let's not forget that Michael Nowak also sits as a board member, or has board membership with the LBMA. And Jason Burak reminds us that this is just the tip of the iceberg. It came out in the trial that they were doing over 3,000 fake orders per day in 2012 and 2013 to get paper gold prices to crash. He says, remember in 2 years, gold crashed from 1900 in 2011, an all-time high at the time, down to 1250 or so by 2013, all manipulation, which we all knew. So now they've been found guilty. Let's see what the convictions end up being. Let's hope they enjoy jail. And coming in from Bloomberg, worst performing precious metal silver may have seen bottom. Prices could turn higher from later this year, HSBC says. Recovery in gold needed for silver to outperform, UBS says. Silver's been the worst performer among major precious metals in 2022, but prices may have fallen far enough to spark a modest recovery. White metal has lost more than 12% since the beginning of the year, weighed down by the stronger US dollar, rising interest rates, and slowing growth. But prices could turn higher from later this year as the electronics and photovoltaic sectors support industrial consumption, while retail and jewelry demand look strong, James Steele, chief precious metals analyst at HSBC Securities USA, said in a note earlier this month. We believe silver is oversold, Steele said. Much of silver's industrial demand will be well supported and will not reflect overall industrial sluggishness, while price declines will stimulate demand from key consumers, China and India, he said. Still, headwinds to the white metals rally exist as the world braces for the withdrawal of stimulus and economic downturn. While HSBC remains positive, it has cut its forecast as silver follows gold and copper lower. The bank now sees the average price at $22.25 an ounce for 2022 and at $23.50 for 2023. UBS Group AG expects silver to trade lower to $19 by early 2023. Spot silver was trading at $20.51 an ounce at 1:39 p.m. in New York after bouncing back from a 2-year low in mid-July. Silver's trajectory will closely follow gold, and investors should consider buying both metals when the Fed makes a proper dovish pivot and has meaningful easing of policy to support growth, said Wayne Gordon, Executive Director for Commodities and FX at UBS Group's Global Wealth Management Unit. Once we get to that recovery phase in gold, we believe silver can really outperform the yellow metal, said Gordon. Gold gained 0.3% to $17.94.86 an ounce as traders await a key report on US consumer inflation due Wednesday. Well, we've had that. Gold futures on the COMEX traded 0.3% higher. Palladium fell 0.6%, while platinum took a deeper dive, sliding 0.9%. So I did this video recently, has silver bottomed? $50 silver awaits. And actually I did this video pretty much at the bottom of silver because silver's since bounced up since then. I did buy some physical silver. I did buy some silver explorers. However, I didn't buy as many as I wanted. I was being a little bit patient and silver's jumped up from there. So personally, I wouldn't mind seeing silver being smashed down again. So bring on a bit of a liquidity event in the stock market to fall and some margin calls to hit, because I wouldn't mind silver falling a little bit more because I've got a little bit more space for silver in my portfolio there. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that silver has bottomed as I potentially do? I potentially think that silver has bottomed, and obviously HSBC and UBS think that it potentially has. Do you think that David Morgan is right and we'll see this 100x move higher in silver? And can the guilty verdicts of the JP Morgan traders, will that have an effect on manipulation? Will we start to see other bullion traders look at what happens to them and whatever conviction they get, and do they say, well, hey, we're not gonna follow suit, we're not gonna manipulate this thing? And so will we start to see a more true free market value of gold and silver? Will we see the supply and demand actually show its true worth. You know what? I am skeptical, but I do believe that where we are headed, having physical gold and silver is important to hold in your portfolio, especially at these prices, especially when you compare it to other assets. And for me, I love investing in the mining and exploration space. That's where I've had a lot of success. It's where I get a lot of leverage. And I have a lot of fun and enjoyment in analyzing and trying to work out which are the next big things. So what do you guys think? Love to see your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Once again, if you like this video, please hit that like button. Really do appreciate it. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again on another episode of Finance Uncut. And just a reminder, the information provided in this video is for education and entertainment purposes only. Nothing on this channel constitutes as financial advice. The information in this presentation is no substitute for financial advice, and all investors should seek advice from a licensed financial advisor having regard to your own objectives, financial situation, and needs.